Welcome to Pelagia. We are going to be playing a game today that involves coral hilts, playing cards, and our collective imagination. I'm here to show you just how easy this new retrofitted Savage World system is, and I'm going to do it all within 5 minutes. We're going to play a whole adventure, and let's see how we do. So as introductory Coral Knights, you are cast with a grave task from the Keepers to rescue somebody who has disappeared. All you are going to do is simply leave the city of Atlantis, discover a path called the Bright Shell Path that is made up of different cowrie shells and different bright baubles and pieces of shell that illuminate the path to an intersection. On that intersection, you are going to discover that there are two paths to take, one deeper into what is a coral forest, which is essentially a razor-sharp rainforest underwater, with mazes and many other challenges that you might potentially face, or a clear expanse of volcanic rock where for miles you can't see anything. Chances are you're going to want to make a notice check. So all we do is we take out our pieces of cards, and we're simply going to draw from the deck. It's going to be very simple. As a character, you have your action deck, and when I ask you to make a check, you're going to flip your card. Now, I flipped a queen, and that means that I pass this check, and because it's a face card, I'm going to reserve this as a Benny for later use. So not only have I passed my check, I've made a raise, which means had I normally investigated the coral forest, maybe I would have seen a little disturbance, but no, I actually found a very specific clue and the path through the coral forest, which is going to start to lead me down that way. So as we pick our way through the coral forest, I'm going to ask you to make a survival check for me. And your survival check was a 4, which means you didn't pass. For the next few hours, you roam through the coral forest until you see what looks to be an open clearing. It's been hours and you're a little weary, so I'm actually going to potentially add another encounter or another difficulty to this next piece. But as you emerge from the clearing, you see several objects lying on the ground. They're on a stone plinth, a piece of rock, and you can only really see a light glow coming from each of these objects. You're not really quite sure what they are just yet, but all around you floats various pieces of debris, various shells. It doesn't necessarily seem like a place to be worried about, but there are things that you may want to be careful of. So I'm going to have you make another notice check for me. You drew a jack. On a raise, you hear voices coming from the other room, and you know you're actually in the treasure room of the bandits who took that person you've been looking for. Again, this is a jack, so I'm going to keep it as a Benny. Whereas, remember, I drew a 4 earlier. That I do not keep as a Benny, but I don't put it back. Don't put it back in the action deck. I'm going to place this to the side as a discarded card. So right now, I have a deck of cards in front of me and a queen and a jack. So enemies are coming. What are we going to do? Well, we notice them so they don't have the drop on us. In fact, because we got a raise, we will have the drop on them. We go to the opposite ends of the room. Because we're in a 3-dimensional space of water, we can even swim slightly up so that as these 3 Marrow guards walk in, we're actually going to take them by surprise. So that means I can draw 2 cards and use whichever one of them I want. So I have advantage on this attack, and I drew an ace. So the 8, we're just going to discard that. But the ace is the most powerful card in the game because not only is it a crit, I now can reserve this for either an instant hit or an instant crit the next time I want to use this as a Benny. So we get the drop on them with our ace, handled very neatly. We take care of those Marrow guards pretty quickly. They're extras. Didn't seem like they were carrying anything particularly special, but we've escaped this encounter with our lives. And now, this hilt that was on the ground and that you now come in to inspect belongs to that person you are looking for. You're in the right place. This also has a glowing power stone in the middle of it and is technically a rare magic item. Whichever player wants, they can both take this item and attune to it. And this is now the ability to create an ice or a laser sword if they would like to use that in combat. We've now played our first round of Savage Worlds. Let me know what you think.